Good morning, DonInLondon. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. It's April the 6th, 2010. So my addictive substance, alcohol, alcoholic in recovery, one day at a time. And equally addicted to behaviour, so substance and behaviour for me. My behaviour, work, relationships, material, collecting, obsessing, desiring, you name it. Working so hard I couldn't see straight some of the time, and in relationships which were always intense and then sort of petered out because they couldn't be sustained at that level of extreme, I guess, and moving on and moving on and moving on, and always striving to be okay or to be perfect, and certainly I wasn't, and I always knew there was room for improvement. So a driven individual, always feeling less than in some respect. But these things I didn't know when I was drinking. It just took the edge off the feeling of anxiety, exhaustion, tiredness, I don't know what, anything to fix the feeling inside and trying to relax. But as with everything, if we overdo it and continue to overdo it, we are dependent before we know it. And then from dependency to addiction is one cross over a line, or when we step over that line, going back into recovery, or coming back into recovery, means that we are addicted if we go back and try again, because it's all about trying to exert will or self-will. And what I know is, if we take it too far to extremes, self-will will become obsession and run riot. So these days I try and avoid that. No, I don't try and avoid it. I don't have to, because I'm in recovery and I know when obsession starts. So what's it like to be in recovery? Well, how did I get there as well? It wasn't me. It was other people who helped me along the way. So family, friends, community and professionals kept me alive long enough to have some clarity that I could not beat addiction on my own. And that was the moment of clarity. And when that happened, it was the start of a very difficult journey which took some years to find what sober might be like. To be sober one day at a time and then build on that so that I have a clear head and experience life as it is. That's something called a spiritual connection to now. And I always thought that spiritual and religion were interwoven, and they're not particularly for me. Spiritual is just simply being aware of being in reality right now, and what is possible and what is not possible, and the ability to cope with life as it changes. So what helped me immensely, and is a very big part of my recovery story, is the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. Never speak for it. Full of unique, authentic people who speak where they will, and because it's an anonymous fellowship, you join and you say if you're in, if you don't want to say you're in, you don't have to. And beyond that, the anonymity is a sanctuary to find our truth, how to be truthful to ourselves and other people around us about who we are, what we are, and how to be in society. So all good, but it's hard work. And you know, who said it was going to be easy? Life is difficult, as M. Scott Peck said. M. Scott Peck, who wrote that book, The Road Less Travelled, and on his death, one of the obituaries said, the writer M. Scott Peck died. He was a chain-smoking, gin-sodden philanderer, and he lasted quite a long time. And he wrote that book, and it was full of wisdom. But the gift is, if we've got the wisdom, we have to put it into action. So the action, if you like, for me in fellowship is to change my attitude and behaviour, and to know that is possible, that my attitude can change, that I can make good choices based on what is going on for me. And this morning was quite a difficult one. Checking my blood sugars, I'm type 1 diabetic, doing the right injections to get it to the right level. I engaged in a little bit of aerobic exercise using Pilates, because my foot is healing and I'm starting to be able to move about a bit. And I overdid it and gave myself a hypo, which is where the blood sugar goes dangerously low. and I only spotted it when it got to 3.3, and it was still going down. I could feel it. So I'm recovering from that little event. So it's spring here. I want to be out and doing, but I'm having to be careful with my foot and the fractures, and pay attention to what is going on for me. So good sense means I have to stay put and do the right thing, which is just gently recover. And now my blood sugars have gone too high, I have to adjust them carefully and not in a great big rush. I have to take it easy. Not easy for somebody who wants to be active. Anyway, Alcoholics Anonymous, without it I wouldn't have been alive to get type 1 diabetes, or be actually diagnosed properly with clinical depression as well. So the gift of recovery is knowing what's wrong with us as much as knowing what is right with us. And I'm smiling because, you know, I'm still alive. I'm still alive and in the game of life, one day at a time, even though life kept on happening. So there's no protection from reality in sobriety. What we actually get is the gift of reality and sobriety. And it's hard sometimes, and that's perfectly okay, because we learn from the difficult as well as the wonderful and the joyful. We learn from both. So what is AA and why do I share about it? Well, it saved my life. So I share the AA statement of intent and a little bit of reading, and April is all about I share about the 12 steps of AA, April being all about step 4 for me, which is doing a personal inventory or audit of how I got to where I am and how I want to be today. And that sounds like very easy, but it's not. It's a thorough and careful inventory of who I am and then dealing with it. So anyway, the statement of intent about AA, if you encounter it or you're in it. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses or opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I share from this book daily reflections and 1 page a day of something to think about, a reflection or meditation each day, to help us improve our outlook, attitude and behaviour. And as I say, it sort of covers step 4, the fearless moral inventory, and it says here on April 6th, a lifetime process. We were having trouble with personal relationships. We couldn't control our emotional natures. We were prey to misery and depression. We couldn't make a living. We had a feeling of uselessness. We were full of fear. We weren't happy. We couldn't seem to be of real help to other people, and that was while we were drinking. These words remind me that I have more problems than alcohol, that alcohol is only a symptom of a more pervasive disease. When I stopped drinking, I began a lifetime process of recovery from unruly emotions, painful relationships and unmanageable situations. This process is too much for most of us without the help of a higher power and our friends in the fellowship. When I began working the steps of the AA program, many of these tangled threads unravelled, but little by little the most broken places of my life straightened out. One day at a time, almost imperceptibly, I healed. Like a thermostat being turned down, my fears diminished. I began to experience moments of contentment. My emotions became less volatile. I am now once again a part of the human family. And the gift in all of this is we get to be ourselves and to be part of the human race again. What a gift. And when it's not right or it is going right, the serenity prayer, which can be said any time of day to give me a bit of guidance, to God or good conscience or God, or both. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, like hypos and doing my injections and my depression. Courage to do the things I can, deal with them. And the wisdom to know the difference is, for me, always just for today.